forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank it with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
It's been a busy summer for the NYPD as police investigate robberies across the city.
Over just the last month, there has been a significant spike in crime, with a lot of these robberies turning violent. CBS 2's John Diaz live this morning from Harlem with more. John.
Good morning to both of you. Well, police telling us that some of these robberies are random. Other ones seem to be a bit more planned out. But one thing is for sure, robberies so far this summer, they are up.
Right now, police are searching for 3 people involved in a deadly Inwood robbery, which was caught on surveillance video. It happened around 4:48 Monday morning. The 3 suspects pulled out guns and tried to rob a person sitting in the driver's seat of a black BMW, and then also another person standing nearby. The driver of the BMW tried to get away and was shot in the head, crashed, and died. The other victim had his chain stolen as well. He was shot in the groin and taken to the hospital. The 3 people with guns jumped into a gray Honda Accord and drove off. Anyone with any information is asked to call NYPD's Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS. Katie Johnston for CBSN, New York.
Let's begin this noon with a developing story in Manhattan where police are searching for one of the suspects behind a string of high-end armed robberies.
CBS News' John Diaz has obtained exclusive video of the intense police pursuit.
Exclusive video shows the moments police in unmarked cars pull up next to a black BMW on 28th Street by 6th Avenue around 1:30 Monday morning. While cops tried to conduct a felony car stop, the driver tried to escape by driving on the sidewalk. Speeding past a group of people hanging out in front of Pergola, they took cover in the restaurant as the car just narrowly missed them, while different police fired several rounds through the front windshield to try and stop the driver.
I heard like firecrackers pop, 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 and I heard the helicopter. I came out, and then I just saw like a lot of ruckus.
Louis Soto says he saw the whole thing.
I heard a car, like skidding. Somebody scattered out of there.
The suspects led police on a 1-block chase, ditching their car full of bullet holes on 5th Avenue. Police were able to capture one suspect while the other ran off. A police helicopter was seen and heard searching for him.
I heard a lot of helicopters.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was war.
Police say the 2 are behind at least a dozen high-end robberies, targeting patrons of elite restaurants and clubs as they exit, looking to rob their expensive items at gunpoint.
They said this has been going on for quite a while.
Back in August, authorities alleged they stole jewelry worth more than $4 million from 2 people leaving Tao downtown. A few days later, they stole jewelry worth $100,000 from a man leaving Pergola restaurant. This morning, they tried to strike here again.
I'm glad they caught one, but overall, it's not a safe place. New York ain't safe anymore. It's very unfortunately. I feel bad about it.
And no one was injured in this case, but police say they have also launched an internal investigation since one of their officers fired off his weapon. From the Flatiron District, John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
As police search for the second suspect, we are still waiting to hear what charges the suspect in custody will face.
Yo, we back. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb ties. We on our way to NYC with it. The Bronx, Manhattan, Inwood in particularly. Matter of fact, we gonna show up at everything high scale, and y'all better hide y'all jewels, I'm telling you. Now, today, we are going to be covering a group of individuals that have been terrorizing. When I say terrorizing, they have been terrorizing New York City pretty much since the beginning of summer. I want to say about June 2021 up until the turn of the year. And I first heard of this group right in around that time at the start of the summer. And I thought it was just a trend that was going on in New York. Come to find out, the authorities think it's going to be one gang responsible for these high-end robberies, and the gang that I'm talking about is going to be called OED, or Own Every Dollar. And according to Fox News, they're going to say that Own Every Dollar is a subset or affiliate of the notorious Trinitario gang, who we have covered in the past before the channel got wiped. Some of y'all seen it, some of y'all might not have. I'm going to refresh your memory. If you guys remember, it was a guy by the name of Junior Guzman that was chased into a store and actually macheted to death. Police would say that the Trinitarios was responsible for that crime, but they are deeper than that. They have ties that go back to the jail, but we're going to focus on the OED, or the Own Every Dollar gang, because like I said at the start, they have been committing total anarchy out here, terrorizing party goers. Now, I'm gonna do my best to describe this gang. So it looks like they usually work in about 2 to 4 man teams, usually in dark vehicles. Now, most recently, it seems like they've been traveling in high-end luxury vehicles, almost BMWs. The beginning of the robberies, they were like in Honda Accords, and a lot of times I want to say these are stolen vehicles with modified plates, and that kind of, I don't want to say was the downfall, because when you're committing these kind of robberies, just eventually, especially where they're being committed at, it's almost like you kind of messing with the tourist money. New York is just very, very crazy right now, especially with illegal guns, and then the type of arsenal that these guys are bringing to these robberies, because these are violent robberies they're committing. They're not just robberies, and anytime you brandish a gun, that's going to be considered a violent robbery. If that's the case, these are very violent robberies where if you don't give it up, something's going to happen type situation. And that was the case, especially with a lot of the beginning of the robberies. So it's going to be 12 that are highlighted, but if they know about 12, it's definitely going to be a lot more. And I want to say that I originally kind of heard about the gang, like I said, in the beginning of the summer. This was going to be June, late June. And a close friend of mine and somebody that pays attention to the channel sent me a video, or sent me 2 videos. One was this robbery of a guy by the name of Milton Grant Jr., which I would probably say was probably the most violent of all of them. And he also sent me a music video of some Spanish rapping artists. And at the time, I'm thinking, I can't cover this. I can't implicate these dudes on this, because though it was a lot of similarities to the music video and a lot of similarities to the video that he sent me of the robbery, they had on masks. It was just wow. But that robbery occurred at Opus Lounge, and during the course of that robbery, if I'm not mistaken, Milton Grant was with another gentleman. In the surveillance video, the gentleman is kind of like groggy. You can tell they're coming from like a night out. He's pretty much impaired, and these 4 guys just siege on them, and pretty much it's 2 on the passenger, who was out the vehicle, and well, really 3 on him, and it was 1 that had a gun inside of the driver's side window to Milton Grant. Milton Grant would go on to accelerate the gas. He would be shot in the head during the course of this, and the BMW would end up crashing. Now, this would let me know the level of violence that this gang was willing to participate in. Now, once the vehicle crashed, most people, well, once you shoot the person in the head, that's a botched robbery. But not with this gang. Once the vehicle crashed, one of the assailants hawked down the vehicle. They would go into the vehicle, take the chain, which was the target, and I guess some other items. I want to say they said a ring and a watch, but the chain was apparently worth $20,000, and it looked like he was targeted. So that's another thing that they do. They're probably hanging out in these same clubs where people think they can wear their high-end everything, probably looking to see if you popping bottles, probably looking to see what's going on, and they following you to the house or at your most vulnerable moment. In the case of Milton Grant, it looks like when he was dropping the other gentleman that he was with off. Luckily, the other gentleman made it. Milton Grant luckily didn't, and that was only the second robbery. Now, I'm going to try to go down the list because this is really not a gang where they're identifying names. I know they rounded up 2 people, and after they got the second one, which was a guy by the name of Wilson Mendez from the Bronx, 18 years old, that's when a lot of this information came out. But at the beginning, in the early summer, the authorities would say that, hey, they're just a high-end robbery team. They would move coordinated, but I also seen other attacks that didn't seem as coordinated that are going on. It's just the city is a crazy, crazy, crazy place at this time, and it's like the new mayor. I want to say they have a black mayor. They have a black district attorney or chief of police. It's just a lot of that, but it's also a lot of shootings, a lot of guns. Seems like they're crying to the federal government for some kind of gun protection, even though they have the toughest gun laws there are. Now, we're going to run through the incidents because there's so much stuff that we can detail and we can talk about with this specific gang, but I kind of want to really highlight the incidents because not only are they a very, very violent robbery team, this has been very, very lucrative for them because they're going to say in the span of, from June to right now, when I'm reporting this in January, they're going to say that they made $4 million, but I know it's upwards of that because in one robbery alone, which would be the 4th one at Tao Downtown, which we'll get into, they made that in that robbery. So the first one occurred on West 207th Street. I'm going to say a 20-year-old man was stripped of his jewelry by 4 people and shot several times in the chest, the butt, and the legs before driving off with his watch. So that was going to be the first one, and that was a botched robbery because they did shoot the victim, but they didn't get anything. It would be the second one when I would be alerted to them, and that's going to be when a 34-year-old, they don't identify him, but based on my research, it's going to be Milton Grant was fatally shot when 3 men robbed him of a diamond-encrusted chain, ring, and a Rolex. Now, that occurred in Opus Lounge. The third one is going to occur at a place called Master Deli on June 29th. They're going to say 3 men robbed a man of only $750 in cash, a Rolex watch, 2 iPhones, and a necklace. Now, the 4th incident would occur at Tao Downtown that I spoke on earlier, where they're going to say thieves stole $4 million in jewelry from 2 men in particular. So these are huge, huge, huge robberies, and they're only going to kind of stay close in that range. That will be the biggest one they would hit, but after that, they'll start to rack up because on August 19th, they're going to steal $100,000 worth of jewelry and an Audemars from a suspected 34-year-old customer at Robbers. Not familiar with that business, but the 6th incident would occur at Silver Tower Condominium. An off-duty police officer is allegedly robbed of a Tag Heuer watch by the gang. The 7th incident would occur at the prestigious Philippe Chow restaurant, or Philippe Chow, where a man was dining outside, had his Rolex watch stolen, and another man was shot in the leg during the course of that robbery. The 8th would occur at Opus Lounge, the same place as the second one in the murder of Milton Grant, where 2 men were robbed and shot. Another one was fatally injured. So the bodies are piling up, the shootings are piling up. Now, we're going to move to the 9th robbery at the Buddha Bar restaurant. That's on October the 7th. That's going to be where $150,000 worth of jewelry was stolen off of Diamond District businessman outside of a restaurant. We're going to go to Pergola, and this is going to be an important one because this is where they arrested Wilson Mendez, and police would actually get into a shootout, or they would fire 3 shots at a suspect fleeing in a vehicle. So right around this time, they seemed like they were on the radar of police, but it seems like police were looking for this kind of activity. And in this video, you would see that patrons would have to run out of the way of the sidewalk because the NYPD would go to like box in a vehicle. The vehicle was parked, so they had one vehicle come and park right in front of it with its flashing lights, an inconspicuous video. But then they pulled a New York City Police Department vehicle right behind it. They hit the lights. Once they hit the lights, you would see the person like maneuvering to reverse the vehicle. Can't get out because he's boxed in. That's when he goes to accelerate on a sidewalk. Police will fire on that vehicle. And I want to say a few blocks later, they would find the BMW. And they would also find Wilson Mendez. It looks like his face was covered in blood, I'm assuming from when the police fired on the vehicle, because they didn't say he was hit. But it seems like a lot of information came out on that gang in that particular robbery. And it would be 2 more pretty much after that. But a lot of those, they weren't as easy as the first robberies, because it seems like I said, the NYPD is out and expecting this. And I think this organization probably spawned a few copycat organizations, because it seems like people seen what they were doing and took to the same MO. But the thing that separated the OED from a lot of the other gangs were their attacks were coordinated. It seemed like everybody knew their role, everybody knew what they were going with, and they did not hesitate to let off a level of violence at any given time. So that's what separates them from a lot of the other robberies that I've seen going on. And another thing is, these are occurring in the very, very late night hours. I want to say in between 1 and 5 in the morning. If y'all know me, we call that the graveyard shift around here, because shit, if you out there, that's what's happening around them times. And the Goonies and the demons are definitely lurking in the shadows. So we had to kind of get this organization covered. I wanted to cover them a lot earlier than now, but we definitely wanted to let more details emerge. Definitely ain't trying to blame nobody, but according to the authorities, the Own Every Dollar, the OED, is responsible for terrorizing the city, if you want to ask me. Now, y'all make sure y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Y'all hit the bell right under this video so y'all know when this real Trill Spill shit is dropping. We're going to bring y'all all the gangsters, all the realest stories, all the craziest events, all the happenings of the streets. And y'all already know what it is. Y'all get at me, email me, CC me, call me, text me, tweet me, direct message me. Stop me on the street. However y'all want to do it, I'm here for all of it. It's your boy Popalot. Y'all already know what it is. The Mobb, ties.